In December 2025, a U.S. Army Special Forces sergeant opened a Polymarket account. He started with $96. 8 days later, he cashed out $409,000. The DOJ charged him. His lawyer called him an American hero. Both of them might be right. But here's the thing. That's just the most extreme version of something already happening every single second. Thousands of AI agents running 24/7, reading satellites, shipping registries, and weather models, placing bets in the time it takes your brain to register a blink. And the code? Open source. Anyone can run one, but the edge is already gone. Prediction markets are basically betting apps for real-world outcomes. Will the Fed cut rates? Will it rain in Phoenix next Tuesday? Will a specific foreign leader still be in power by the end of the month? Someone will price that. Someone will take the other side. For most of their history, these were niche internet corners for political nerds and probability enthusiasts. Then two things happened at once. The US government mostly deregulated them, and AI got very good at reading the world faster than journalists could write about it. Monthly trading volume on Polymarket alone went from $1 billion in mid-2025 to $8 billion by March 2026. That's not retail traders on their lunch breaks. That's machines. We're going to cover three things: what these machines are actually reading, how fast they actually move, and what happens when a prediction market stops forecasting an event and starts causing it. These are not ChatGPT-powered Discord bots refreshing a browser tab. They're autonomous, containerized agents, open-source Python frameworks with separate modules handling everything, fetching live market data, managing cryptographic signatures, placing orders directly on the exchange. The whole thing runs in the cloud 24 hours a day with no human in the loop. One module pulls and filters active markets. One handles order execution. One connects to an AI vector database so the agent can actually reason about what it's reading before it trades. The whole system ingests the newsfeed, compresses it into a structured prompt, forms an independent probability estimate, and then compares that estimate against the live market price to find an edge. If there's a gap, it fires. The internal loop, from a data packet arriving to a signed trade firing, takes between 20 and 260 microseconds. One human blink is 100 milliseconds. By the time you've blinked once, this bot has placed about 400 trades. To get that speed, traders co-locate their servers in Dublin, Ireland. Why Dublin? Not the Guinness. Polymarket's matching engine is nearby. The ping is 0.52 milliseconds. That is the entire reason Ireland is suddenly relevant to global financial markets. Public API endpoints cap at 100 requests per minute. These setups bypass that entirely. Dedicated infrastructure, direct node access, no rate limits. The retail trader hitting the public API isn't just slower. They're playing a different game. Okay, but what is it actually reading? Because the data pipeline is where this gets genuinely unsettling. Weather contracts are some of the most aggressively traded markets on these platforms, and the reason is simple. They resolve against verified numbers from specific weather stations. There's no ambiguity, no judgment call. A temperature either crosses the threshold or it doesn't, which makes them a perfect target. Your weather app says 75 and sunny. The bot is running 31 independent simulation models that are all violently disagreeing with each other, like a family group chat. It's pulling from the Global Forecast System, the ECWMF model, NOAA's AI forecasting system. It generates a full probability distribution across a temperature range. If those 31 models calculate a 74% chance of the temperature exceeding the threshold, but the prediction market is pricing that contract at 45%, that's a mathematical edge. It fires. And the window to catch that gap is closing fast. In 2024, the average weather arbitrage window on these platforms was 12.3 seconds. By 2026, it's down to 2.7 seconds. At this rate, by 2028, the window will be a negative number, meaning the bot profits before the weather actually happens. That's a joke, sort of. Bots are even programmed for sensor drift. Airport weather stations, which are the standard resolution source for most of these contracts, typically read 2 to 3 degrees cooler than the actual city center, because airports sit outside the urban heat island. The bot knows this. Your weather app doesn't. The bot is better at reading a thermometer than the app specifically designed to read thermometers. But weather is just the warm-up. The really absurd data source is space. For geopolitical contracts, will shipping through the Strait of Hormuz be disrupted? Bots don't read the news. They watch the ships. International maritime law requires every large cargo vessel to broadcast its GPS position 24/7 via the automatic identification system. It's a safety regulation. Every internationally voyaging ship of a certain tonnage transmitting its location continuously. And trading bots subscribe to all of it. That's already a lot, but the satellite layer is where it gets genuinely unsettling. Planet Labs operates over 200 optical satellites photographing essentially the entire Earth every single day at 3 to 5 meter resolution. Trading desks run computer vision models on port imagery, tracking container volumes, military deployments, industrial activity in real time. When researchers fed this port data into prediction models, they found they could forecast national equity returns ahead of government economic reports. Average annualized returns? 16.38%. The government literally publishes the information late. Here's a live example of what this looks like in practice. When ships near the Strait of Hormuz started going dark, turning off their transponders, bots instantly repriced the Hormuz shipping contract. The no outcome captured 76% of traded capital before any news headlines. We're living in a Tom Clancy novel, except Tom Clancy didn't think to include the part where someone in Dublin is betting on it from a server rack. But here's the question. If a bot can get an edge from satellites and shipping registries, what happens when a human gets access to something even better? Like, say, classified military orders. His name is Gannon Van Dyke, 38 years old, Master Sergeant U.S. Army Special Forces, stationed at Fort Bragg. And in late December 2025, while actively involved in planning a covert military operation to capture Nicolás Maduro, he opened a Polymarket account. Let's walk through what happened next. December 26, he creates the account through a VPN. At this point, he has access to non-public logistics schedules for what the DOJ would later call Operation Absolute Resolve. December 27th, first bet, $96 on U.S. forces in Venezuela by January 31st. Yes. December 30th, $1,323. Nicolás Maduro out of office by January 31st. Yes. Internal confirmation of operational timelines. January 1st, $6,100 across Trump War Powers contracts. Final mobilization orders have just been issued to deployment units. January 2nd, $26,415, spread across 4 separate bets. Military assets are positioning in Caracas. January 3rd, Maduro is captured by special forces. Trump announces it publicly. Every contract resolves yes. Payout, $409,881. He withdrew the funds and routed them through an overseas cryptocurrency vault. Then, when reports of unusual betting volume on Venezuelan contracts started circulating on social media, he contacted Polymarket support and asked them to delete his account. His reason? He lost access to his email. The oldest IT support ticket in the world. Unfortunately, federal investigators are slightly more persistent than Polymarket's help desk. He was arrested in April 2026 and charged with commodities fraud, wire fraud, and theft of non-public government information. His defense attorney, Mark Garagos, publicly called him an American hero and argued this is, quote, not a crime. And here's the thing, that argument is genuinely not as crazy as it sounds. He didn't sell secrets to a foreign government. He didn't leak to a journalist. He placed bets on a publicly accessible, globally viewable platform using information that happened to be classified. There's no statute written specifically for this. It's the first federal prosecution of its kind. It will not be the last. Okay, but here's the part that actually keeps researchers up at night. It's not the bots. It's not the insider trading. It's what happens when the market stops predicting events and starts writing them. June 27, 2024, the presidential debate ends. Within hours, Polymarket's implied probability of Biden withdrawing from the race jumps from 19% to 50%. That number, that single market price, starts appearing in donor calls, party strategy meetings, television segments. Political journalists cite it like a poll. Bundlers cite it in emails. It becomes a reference point for whether staying in the race is even viable. It didn't just reflect changing sentiment, it accelerated the pressure that led to his withdrawal. That's the organic version. Now here's what it looks like when it's deliberate. Before the 2024 presidential election, an anonymous French trader known on the platform only as Freddy9999 operated 10 associated wallets and placed millions of dollars in pro-Trump bets. By aggressively and continuously buying the yes contract, he drove Trump's implied probability on Polymarket to 64%. When Trump won, Freddy9999's positions resolved. He made $85 million. Now, here's the structural fact underneath all of this. On Polymarket, over 95% of the market resolution pool is controlled by a small number of high-volume accounts. The wisdom of the crowds, the whole theoretical foundation these platforms were built on, is the wisdom of whoever controls 95% of the capital pool. We built these platforms to aggregate information and find truth. Instead, we built a machine where sufficiently large amounts of capital can manufacture the appearance of truth, and then, sometimes, make it true. A high enough probability on a visible enough platform doesn't just reflect what people think will happen. It changes what people do, which changes what happens, which confirms the probability. That loop has no off switch.